Approaching the trampoline. The exercises shown are performed by a mixed trampoline group in which mentally disabled pupils from the Heimsonderschule Haslachmühle work together with pupils from the Wilhelmsdorf Grammar School. When standing on the trampoline for the first time, one is at first fascinated by the unexpected lightness of one's own body, the feeling of weightlessness and carefreeness. Secondly, one is made quickly aware of one's own personal limits, sense of balance, coordination, stamina, and physical condition. So in the beginning, it's about the alternatives of reducing on the one side possible uncertainties and shyness caused by the new medium, and gaining confidence in the handling of the swinging canvas, and winning on the other a healthy respect for the physics defined by the trampoline. Feelings of carefreeness can quickly lead to carelessness and daring, one of the most frequent causes of injury. The trampoline offers numerous possibilities through pleasure, inclination and interest, built upon the intensity of the jumps themselves, and sequences of exercises to train coordination and strengthen basic muscle tone, which results in more body and movement consciousness, experience, social competence, and confidence in one's own capabilities. The following exercises show examples of playfully getting used to the equipment. The trampoline, the swinging canvas. Here, the emphasis lies on different forms of movement. It quickly becomes evident that the most diverse of objects can be used. The movement within a group, exercises performed with a partner, should be included as soon as possible. The key word is social competence, social learning. There are no limits to the imagination. Safety, however, should never be neglected. Rolling over the trampoline. Rolling on the trampoline can cause grazes and burns. Long trousers should be worn at all times. Crawl over the trampoline. Crawl over obstacles. One should be careful not to use obstacles with sharp or hard edges, because these can lead to injuries or damage to the trampoline itself. Rolled a tree trunk. Several children lay on their stomachs next to one another. Another, preferably light child, lays itself across the backs of those already laying face down. These in turn then begin to roll in one direction. The tree trunk is thus transported from one end of the trampoline to the other. Copying animals. While jumping, the children should copy animal noises and calls, the idea being that all the children are equally included in performing the task given to them. Transport materials on your back. A child crawls from one end of the trampoline to the other, transporting all objects that the other children previously laid out on the trampoline. Two children are on all fours and build a bank. Another kneels on top of the two horses and is carried to the other side of the trampoline. The most weight should be shared between the hips and the shoulders of the horses. These, in turn, must stay close together, otherwise the rider is either forced to do the splits or fall down. Safety reference. The weight of the upper child should rest over its shins on the hip bones of the child below it. When descending, be careful not to tread on the heels of the child below. Transportation of a person. Three people kneel on all fours next to one another on the trampoline, forming a bank. A fourth person then lies across their backs. He is then transported from one side of the trampoline to the other. Adaption exercises. Walking variations. It's important to wear suitable shoes. No plimsolls, no trainers, but trampoline shoes, anti-slide socks or gymnastic shoes. With long or short steps, walk back and forth. Walking like an angel. Moving your arms like wings, walk across the trampoline, letting the rebound propel you forwards. The feet remain in contact with the trampoline. Sailor gait. Walk back and forth across the trampoline with straddled legs. Sewing machine walk. The participants walk with many quick little steps, stamping with their feet. walking the red line. The participants balance back and forth over the trampoline along the red line. A sense of balance is responsible for the upkeep of an upright stance and for orientation. It enables the body to be aware of acceleration or rotation and helps adjust to them. The maintenance of the equilibrium is based upon an integration of supporting perceptive areas of the brain. The equilibrium process is supported by other organizational systems, especially the visual and tactile proprioceptive fields. It's strongly associated to auditory, visual and kinesthetic aspects. It also helps to register acceleration, changes of position, rotation and supports movement coordination. Instruction for tying ropes. Ropes or cords are laid over the trampoline. They are then fastened to the equipment by pressing them into the supporting springs. Stretch the ropes across the trampoline. The ends of the ropes should then be pulled through the first ring of the corresponding springs. Crossing ropes. Step back and forth over the ropes. Shaking ropes. Several participants hold ropes across the trampoline and move them from side to side. Another tries to reach the other end of the trampoline without being touched by the ropes. Partner participation. Keep in mind that during the following exercises, the participants should not jump on the bed. Walk beside a partner. In the following exercise, the participants are in pairs. They have to walk facing one another over the trampoline. They try to walk in the same rhythm. They should decide before they start who the leader is. Linking arms back to front. It's important before they begin to discuss who walks forward and who back. The participant walking forwards is responsible for the safety of his partner. Slalom. The first group of children form a chain on the trampoline by standing with outstretched arms with both hands on both of their neighbor's shoulders. The second group now runs slalom through the chain. Snake. A participant stands on the trampoline with his left hand tucked backwards through his straddled legs. His partner holds onto this hand with his right. Only through learning to deal with personal experience, feelings felt in diverse situations, conquered fears, crossed borders and successes is it possible for a child to accept and understand his fears, his overly careful approach, and overcome them. Shuttle. A group stands one behind the other. Alternate participants either stand with straddled legs or are squatting down. The last person in the row either jumps over the person in front of him or crawls through his legs and works his way to the front. The last person in the row follows him, and so on. When at the front, they then take on the next position, either with straddled legs or squatting. Wheelbarrow. When doing a wheelbarrow, it's important to remember to hold one's partner just above the knees and not by the ankles so that a hollow back isn't caused. Two partner pairs have a wheelbarrow race. Sorting by height and size. Several people stand on the trampoline with their eyes closed. There should be sufficient safety assistance around the trampoline. Their task is to order themselves by height and size without verbal instructions. Body experience. The physicality of a child is the core of his personality, the pivot of his existence. Taking action includes physical activity. A child learns through physical activity about his own body, how it works, how to use it, and about the world around it. Orientation within the own body is the basis of orientation in its environment. At the same time, the body is a mirror of its physical experiences. Through its body, a child is able to assess its actual state of health and helps him to express his feelings and needs. The field of physical experience within motor pedagogic offers different forms of physical or motion activity adjusted and adapted according to the stage of development of the target group. Material transportation. The participants move one or more balloons over the trampoline with different parts of their body. Flower bed. Multicolored scarves are pressed into the surface of the trampoline. Two participants hold the hands of a third person standing between them, who then tries to pluck the flowers using only his hands, feet, or teeth. Chasing tails. 4 to 6 people are on the trampoline. 3 to 5 of them have a rope or a scarf tucked into the back of their trousers. A participant then tries to steal a tail from someone else. When successful, he tucks it to his other tail. Now the next person tries his luck. Always be security conscious when so many people are at one time on the trampoline. Keep the trampoline tidy. Many different objects are placed on the trampoline: balls, balloons, sponges or scarves. The idea is to remove them as quickly as possible. Bobbing and jumping. Rabbit hops. Participants go onto their hands and knees. They then hop forwards, landing with their hands first and then with their feet. Bear gait. The participants go onto their hands and knees. They then move forwards, rocking from side to side with outstretched arms and straddled legs. Frog jumps. The participant springs with his hands and legs. While in the air, he stretches his arms and legs out to the sides and makes a sound like a frog, then finishes landing on his hands and knees. Sitting hop. Using one's hands to propel oneself, hop forwards in a sitting position. Mogul slope. Hop back and forth along the red line, taking care that the torso is held upright and straight. Jockey. Sit as if sitting on a horse. The torso is held upright and the participant is facing forwards. One arm is held in front of the body as though holding a horse's reins. With the other hand, he swings an imaginary lasso. This exercise serves as a preparation for stopping. Stopping with partner. The participants link arms and decide when they should stop jumping. Self and social experience. Only through contact with others is it possible to communicate and learn to express oneself. In suitable partner situations, can children learn to cooperate, to take responsibility, to be considerate, emphatic and self-assertive? Stopping alone. Sign, stop. Waltz. A pair stands face to face holding hands. They jump synchronously. The partners should look at one another with their arms outstretched. They shouldn't jump too high and ought to stay in the middle of the trampoline. Partner waltz. A succession of exercises is agreed upon and followed. It's important that the participants shouldn't jump too high and that they remain synchronized. Both participants carry out the same jumps: high jump, the straddle, right step, left step, or each turns around slowly. An increase in the strength of the leg muscles through a moderate increase in general muscle structure. Although the participant subjectively believes he is using less energy, the effect actually caused is an increase in the effectiveness of the leg muscles. Signalman. One person stands in the middle of the trampoline. Another stands in front of him on a blue mat. The participant on the blue mat moves his arms to different positions. The jumper tries to mirror these movements without leaving the center of the trampoline. Gestures man. While jumping, do sign language. Do the signs for articles that are exhibited. Clock. Place number bags clockwise on the edge of the trampoline. 3, 6, 9, 12. The jumper should then turn while in flight to the numbers that are called out to him. subtract numbers that have been called out, and turn in flight to the result. Jumping with accessories. Gymnastic hoops. Hoops that are either lying down on the trampoline or held vertically should be jumped over. One could use other jumps, for example frog or rabbit, to jump over the vertically held hoops. Hot wire. Several people stand next to one another on the trampoline. They have tennis rings in their hands and hold them at various heights. While doing this, they bounce lightly. Another participant then tries, with his eyes closed, to thread a rope through the rings held for him. Electric hoops. The person within holds onto the hoop and keeps his eyes closed. In which direction the rope should be pulled is determined by the use of different colored scarves. One should be careful not to pull too quickly. Skipping with a heavy rope. Two people stand on the edge of the trampoline and swing a heavy rope. A jumper tries to jump in rhythm. Skipping in pairs. Two jumpers holding hands jump together. Skipping rope and sit jump. A person jumps in a sitting position over the rope. Ring targets. Different colored rings of various sizes are laid on the blue mat. The participant should bat the ring that's called out. The visual system is very important when jumping on the trampoline. The jumper uses his eyes as orientation while jumping. He ought to orientate himself on a prominent point or on a horizontal or vertical line. Through doing this, he's able to assess his performance and judge the execution of his jumps. Keep the balloon aloft. A participant tries to keep a balloon afloat using his hands, feet, head, shoulders, elbows, fingers, knees, heels, bottom, nose or forehead. It's essential that sufficient security is offered. Keep the balloon aloft with bats. The balloon is batted from one end of the trampoline to the other with badminton rackets. Keep in mind the safety measurements. Burst balloons. Burst balloons that have been fastened to the trampoline with pegs by bouncing on them in a sitting position. Passing on in a chain. The participants build a chain. A ball is then passed between them without throwing or jumping. Throwing a ball from the mat. A person stands either on the blue mat or on the trampoline and throws a ball to their partner, who is also either standing or jumping on the trampoline. One begins with slow balls, water balls or balloons wrapped in cloth. They're not so hard, they fly slower and are less frightening. Throwing a ball in a sit jump. A participant stands either on the blue mat or on the trampoline and throws balls to his partner, who is either sitting or bouncing in a sitting position. The balls ought to be thrown before a jump. Catching a ball with a bag. A person stands either on the blue mat or on the trampoline and throws balls to his partner, who either jumps or remains standing on the trampoline. The partner should catch the balls in a basket, a bag, or in a hat. Throwing a ball after a colour is called. 4 people sit in all 4 corners of the trampoline, each with a different coloured ball. The jumper in the centre holds a white ball. The jumper then turns to the corner with the colour that's been called. While turning, he throws his ball to the participant sitting there. A new colour is then called and the procedure repeats itself. Keeping eye contact is very important. Ping pong jumps are when 2 participants jump alternately. Ping pong with 2 balls. Here, timing is important. The proper timing is achieved by counting the jumps. Ball machine. 2 people jump ping pong. Another pair stands on either side of the trampoline. The one standing on the left-hand side throws a ball to the first jumper. He in turn throws to the person standing on the right of the trampoline. This person then throws the ball to the second jumper. The second jumper throws the ball to the first jumper. This exercise can be carried out using more than one ball. It's important that all 4 players find a shared rhythm. For a continuous flow in the performance, it is essential to hold eye contact to see whether the other is free to throw. Skittles. Tins are positioned singly or built to a pyramid. The participants hold balls in various sizes and try to knock the tins down. Juggle. Try to juggle with 3 balls. Pond without crocodiles. Walk or run from one end of the trampoline to the other, stepping or hopping on carpet tiles. Pond infested with crocodiles. Walk or run from one end of the trampoline to the other, stepping or hopping on carpet tiles while others standing at the sides try to touch you. Crawling under a sail on the trampoline. Sailcloth is held over the surface of the trampoline. The sailcloth can become electrically charged, so be careful. One has to be careful when using a parachute, a sail, etc., that the exercises are not performed too quickly or too high. Jump on all 4s under the sail. The sail is stretched on top of the participant who tries to jump against the resistance of this sail. A single person can also jump under the sail. This causes a wave effect. Jumping over the sail. The sail is so moved that waves are caused. They shouldn't be too high. The participants try to cross the sea. Those who have visual deficits ought to be accompanied. Synthetic fabrics are often slippery. Fall into a seated position. Those taking part then fall onto the rope and perform a seat drop. Gymnastic ball. Health improvement through the use of a gymnastic ball. For the strengthening of the skeletal and muscle apparatus, dynamic and activated seating, improvement of posture, relief of the passive movement apparatus, increased spinal suppleness, improved coordination, motion supporting, activation of sensory perceptive levels and relaxation. Balance exercises, seated. Keep your balance while lightly bouncing. Support with the aid of hoops. Raise and sink both arms alternately. As instructed, raise or lower either arms or legs. Try keeping your balance on the gymnastic ball. Gymnastic roll. A participant sits on a gymnastic roll and holds onto a strap which is held by a second person. The strap holder then tries to move the rider by pulling on the strap. A number of people sit on the gymnastic roll and hold onto a strap or the person in front of them. They then try, as a team, to spring together. Games. Gordian knot. The players stand on the trampoline with their eyes closed. They raise their arms towards the middle of the circle. The scarves ought to be held by two different people. Subsequently, the participants open their eyes and try, without letting go of their scarves, to undo the knots. Wheelchair. The stability and mechanical efficiency of the wheelchair ought to be checked before use. The wheelchairs must be treated carefully, and one should consult a technician as to whether the chairs can bear the strain and wear. It's best to procure a wheelchair from an expert. Ascending and descending. Small box. The small box becomes part of the exercise. Participants are only allowed up onto and down from the trampoline when they climb over the box. Heidelberg steps. The steps up to the trampoline are variable, can be kept at a minimum when necessary. Box steps. It's possible, due to the width of the box steps, to assist the participant up the steps and onto the trampoline. The height of the steps is variable. Ramp. It's possible to use gymnastic banks as a ramp. A person can slip down the inclined surface on one or more carpet tiles. It ought to be, in addition, supported and stabilized by being held on both sides. The person slipping down should also be supported on both sides. The participant could also use a blanket instead of carpet tiles to slip down. A blanket also allows him to be pulled up over the ramp to the trampoline. Another method of transport is a roller board, again with the support of others. Covering the ramp with aluminium lanes enables a wheelchair to be pushed up onto and down from the trampoline. A lifter is an optimal helper for those with disabilities, ascending to and descending from the trampoline. It allows a quick and simple transport direct from the wheelchair to the trampoline. Be driven. The driver's helper holds onto the wheelchair handles. Drive independently. The helper ought to hold strict attention to the jumper so that he's able to intervene if the wheelchair should go out of balance. Bobbing. The jumper should be secured with a lap belt so that he's unable to lift unnecessarily and uncontrolled out of his seat. One should always be aware that it's not always necessary for a driver to jump or hop on the trampoline. Specialists should always be consulted before using the trampoline. Throwing balls. The helper ought always to hold on to the wheelchair so that the driver can concentrate on catching and throwing. Jumping on all fours. While on all fours, a participant tries to bounce on the red cross of the trampoline. The person bouncing then falls into a prone position to again take on the bank position on the rebound. Skipping rope alone. Two people stand on the blue mats at either end of the trampoline and swing a rope. The person on all fours tries to bounce in rhythm while falling alternately in a prone position and then bouncing back onto all fours. Skipping rope with a wheelchair. The driver ought to wear a lap belt so that he stays strapped into the wheelchair. The helper jumps together with the driver to regulate the height and intensity of the jumps so that those on the rope can keep in rhythm. Relaxation. Lying on the gymnastic ball. A participant lays face down over a gymnastic ball. He is then rocked back and forth and from side to side. Both ought to talk to one another and express their feelings when feasible. Otherwise, it's up to the teacher to watch his pupils and pay attention to any changes in physical expressions in face or body. Cover with sandbags. Sacks filled with differing materials, such as fine sand, pebbles or pearls, are spread with different amounts of pressure upon the person lying on the trampoline. Sundry body parts such as hands, feet, shoulders or the head are then perceived more intensively. Relaxing story, baking pizza. 3 people are on the trampoline. 1 lays face down. The baker kneels beside him and sprinkles him all over his back and body with flour. He adds water, making movements as though playing the piano. He then strokes over the pizza's body with the palms of his hands. The yeast is then added. The baker makes small, fast movements with more pressure. Now everything should be mixed and kneaded. Make kneading movements. The pastry can then be beaten. Light thumps on the back. The pastry is ready to be rolled out. Make rolling movements. The pastry is covered with the ingredients that the participant wishes, for example tomatoes, salami, olives, etc. Let your imagination take over and use movements of your own invention. Roll with light pressure over the participants. The participants lay on their backs. The trampoline is then brought into motion through bouncing and swinging movements. While the participants remain laying down, they are rolled over by a large gymnastic ball, a pezzi ball. Being rolled over by a gymnastic ball causes the participants to become aware of 2 different cognitive areas, the external and internal perception. The borders of the body are then distinct and the body schema clearer. Move lightly.